we just got, here it shows, here's the Froe, this is called Froe here. And then we have the first, if you look at the first one we got this year, it shows it more details if you want to make certain curves and things. In the Froe chips, there are various kind of articles and just little chips of various kinds of information. In the one that was written by Pettis Reed, he actually mentions that about the town of Versailles, which is down south in the southern part of the county, and he mentions that the Versailles knob was like a sacred place, and anyone who actually left always wanted to come back to Versailles knob. So with that, I asked people, how many of you living here, saying in this area, how many of you see the Versailles knob like on a daily basis? It's somewhere hidden away. Do you know where? You know where it is? Those people on the north side of town, I drove by a location there on going over the bridge at 840 today, where you go over 840 on Jefferson Pike. And if you look to the south, all of the distance, I had my camera with me, got out of the car, stood on the bridge and looked to the south, and that mountain, if you don't look for it, there are people that I ask, have you ever seen the Versailles knob? Well, just look to the south, and of course I had a zoom lens on my camera, so I zoomed it in, and Pettis says that the mountain is about almost 1,300 feet. So it's just a little tidbit that now, as far as it connects with my family, on my mother's side, I'm descended from the Jackson family and also the Hendricks family. My mother was a Hendricks, and so my great-great-grandfather, Adam Hendricks, he married Mary and Polly Jackson. Okay, and they lived close to the Versailles knob. And so the story is that Adam Hendricks was in the town of Versailles, and he was killed driving a team of oxen. So when I look down 840 and I can see the Versailles knob there on the bridge from Jefferson Pike, I can tie that, and then I look downstream going down the river, and I live on the other side. So you can be on the other side of Rutherford County, the north side, and there's a place over there that I connect to. So throughout this book that we get, it's a treasure. To answer your question, I may have book number 20 at home. I've got most of it at home, and so I may have that. As I remember reading about the development of various roads, so it may, I'm pretty sure it may be in there. As far as a total house, Nell Blankenship told me a few years ago, I stopped by there when they were selling pumpkins in the fall, and we got in the car from their farm out on Hallsfield Pike, and we drove straight over to about where the Cripple Creek runs into the Stones River, the East Fork of Stones River, and there is a total house there. Yes. And how many of you have ever visited that total house? I've got pictures of it at home. It's on private property. I thought it was actually moved there. There was a fellow who lived in some other country. He had bought that property across from where the Blankenships had farmed, and he had done some maintenance work on the house itself, but it's been sitting there for years and years. Now, as far as Froe chips are concerned, when you're dealing with a Froe, there are not many chips. These are chips Now these became a vital part of my life when I was a kid, especially during the winter time when we ran out of wood. We didn't have electricity for a long time, and we didn't have like a heating system. So my mother would ask me to go out and pick up chips, and we'd come and that's what we burn to keep the fire going. Now those are chips like this. Now so with this, there are different uses for the Froe. One we think of for shingles. Now if you were thinking about shingles, you'd want something longer like this maybe. This is the manufactured shingle that's smooth on this side. Of course, it wouldn't be that way if you use a Froe like this. This is what they use on some of the newer roofs out at the Sam Davis home. So another thing you could use a Froe for, like in log buildings, we've been having some trouble over at the Ransom School where we need to do some, what's that word when you fill in between logs? Chinking. Now, those logs are over there in that part at the Ransom School. There's just a small little thing there, so it's special. You couldn't use something like this. Now, this came from the Sam Davis, from the King John's house down on Jefferson Pike, and the part of the original house that had the two-story log building still standing there. And you know how these were used on that house? They would be stair step in between the logs. There's a wider space, and you take these. This is cedar. This one is probably about, I'd say, well over 200 years old. This is 200 years. Now, one that I made would be, I made one like this where I could just one like this. Then I just made some of these yesterday. So this one has been around for a while. So you put them like in stair steps, and then after you get them all in there, then you can do whatever chinking that you want, either with clay or some of the stuff. Just the other day, I stopped out at the smokehouse and Sam Davis home to check on the logs there, and right away I saw 20 penny nails driven. Like if you drive them down, like if you have a log here with a space there between. What they did is they drove the nails down, and they could be bent, and then after you got the nails every 18 inches or so, then you chink in there, and this would help to hold the chinking in place. Okay, and sometimes you see some of the cabins at Sam Davis home. They actually drive the stones in there, but they fall out sometimes. So what I was going to do was actually demonstrate. I didn't have a mallet. One of the best things that you can use for a mallet, if you would please. The other day after we had the flood, I was down on my little farm there in Smyrna, and there was a piece of heavy wood there, very heavy wood, and I carved a mallet. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate this. It is really heavy now. It is really. I just want to show you and just by dropping it. It's made out of bodock, and I was talking to Jeff there about this is tremendously heavy, and all I have to do really is just drop it like that. Okay, and we'll take this back, and I'll take the first cut like this, and if you need to stand up and look at that. I'll do the first one, and I'll ask for a volunteer. Okay? Now, what you want to do, that's probably all you need to do. Now, mother, when she was working in the field, the garden and stuff, she'd say this hoe is as dull as a Froe, as dull as a Froe. They are supposed to be dull. you don't want to cut into this. Now, what you'd actually do if you were, after you first got started, you could just go like this. And what you're looking, now this is cedar. Now this post has been around for a long, long time. And so let me ask the lady right here if you'll come up, and and all you need to do is, I'm gonna just go ahead and start it, like that. You can take this right here, and just hit it somewhere right in the middle of what that is, and I'll hold this right here.
You're not gonna let me hold that?
Well, you can. Now, you don't have to hit it too hard, just try it lightly first. Okay, now a little heavier, okay?
Let's go for it now.
Okay, ready? And what they would suggest you do, if you were making a longer shingle, you could just take it like this, and just pop it off like that.
There's no effort to it though.
There's no effort to it. And notice, now usually what you'd want to do if you were doing a roof, one with the taper thing, you'd make this maybe 18, 20 inches long, or whatever you decide. Now what you want to do, if you'll hold this for a second, is to get, if you're starting with the roof at the bottom of the roof and working to the top, you want the thick part at the bottom like this, and this will lap, and the next one will lap over to here, and the next one will lap over to here, and you just keep on going across the top. Okay, and now all these other little things that you have left over, these can be leftover chips. Nothing is wasted here. These are excellent for starting fires. If you have small ones, you can even make a toothpick. Whatever you want. There's always a use for it. Okay.
Toby, you better watch out. She's wanting to hit something.
Barney, place it on. Okay, where is my Froe here? Okay, the Froe. Let's call on Sandra. Sandra, would you like to have a come on, Sandra. Sandra is an active member. She takes care of money, and I appreciate all the work you guys have done. And you'll take a similar position here, and it is, remember how heavy it is. And I've already got a line marked on here, and we'll see what happens on this one.
Watch his finger.
Okay? Not too heavy now. Now don't get too wild with it. Now hit it right about here. Okay.
Right about where?
Okay, let me. I just got a little. Okay, let me try it here. Okay, now try it right about there.
Come on, sis. It's going.
There
we go. All right.
Burdock is really, for several reasons, burdock or Osage orange, hedge apple, it's a very hard wood. You could make thousands of shingles or whatever you're making with this thing. Let me try one more volunteer. See if I can get one more volunteer. Okay.
Beverly.
That lady right there with the glasses, right there, with your hand up, right here, here she comes. I knew you were gonna put your hand up. I had you in mind, see. I was already thinking right here, see, I'm a teacher, a long-time teacher, and I knew you were gonna do a perfect job. Okay, so just get it right about there. I keep this hand right here and just go. All right, here we go, and give it.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I appreciate it a lot. Thank you all for being here tonight, and come back and have fun.